The day Liam proposed to me, the woman he'd pined for all these years who'd been living abroad returned. He didn't hesitate for a second before chasing after her. "I've finally been moved by your sincerity," she said. "I've decided to accept your feelings. From now on, you'll keep loving me. And only be with me." Liam said nothing, letting her hug him and kiss him. I pulled the ring off my finger and handed it back to him. "We're done here." He grabbed my hand, panic written all over his face. "Clara, I really do like you. But I'm so confused right now. I'll come find you once I've sorted things out." On New Year's Eve, he finally called. His voice was rushed, like he was running. "Clara, I have my answer. I like you. I love you. Let's get married. Let's go get the license tomorrow." A clear, laughing voice came through the phone. "Hey man, bigamy is a felony. Don't drag my wife into this." I went to our high school reunion, not knowing it was actually a proposal Liam had planned. All my old partners in crime, the ones I'd skipped class and gotten into fights with. The ones who'd prayed for good luck before every exam, were there. They threw flower petals, set off confetti cannons, and cheered. It's about time. Liam was Clara's shadow back in high school. I thought they'd get together right after graduation. But he didn't confess until junior year of college. After all this time, they still ended up together. No wonder they were called the best duo at Westbrook High School. Liam got down on one knee in front of me, his face full of hope. "Clara, meeting you and falling in love with you was fate. I'll treat you well now and forever, and put you first in everything. Will you marry me?" Everyone chanted in unison. "Say yes, say yes, say yes." Looking at the joy all around me, and thinking of how Grandma had been waiting for this day, saying yes felt like the only right thing to do. I held out my hand and smiled. "I do." He slipped the ring onto my finger. Cheers erupted. "Woohoo! Kiss her, kiss her, kiss her." Suddenly, there was a loud crash, and the cheers died instantly. Everyone turned to look. A wine glass lay shattered on the floor. Standing in the doorway was a woman with a mature aura and fashionable style. Liam was still holding me, his face stunned. "Soph." Whispers broke out. "What's going on? Who is that?" Soph turned and walked away, and Liam chased after her without a second thought. "Soph." Everyone stood there, shocked and utterly confused. My best friend Mia stepped forward, clearly annoyed. "Who is she?" Throwing a wine glass to get attention. "And what the hell is Liam thinking?" They pushed me toward the door. "Go after him. That woman looks like trouble." None of them knew Liam had a woman he'd been pining for all these years. Watching his retreating back, I ran my fingers over the ring I'd just put on, but I didn't feel the heartbreak I'd expected. I went to the bathroom, and overheard their conversation right outside. "So this is why you said you'd keep your distance from me from now on?" Soph asked. Liam sounded flustered. "I like her." Soph's voice was soft. "You proposed just because you like her. Do you love her?" "Liam, I've finally been moved by your sincerity, and I've decided to accept your feelings. From now on, you'll keep loving me. And only be with me." Liam stood there in silence, letting Soph wrap her arms around him and kiss him on the tiptoe. I smiled bitterly and turned to leave. My old classmates must have sensed something was wrong, because they all made excuses to leave one by one. Soon after, Liam came back, frowning and looking troubled. "Clara, I didn't expect Soph to suddenly come back and show up here. She's not feeling well right now, so I need to take her home first. Can we postpone getting the marriage license?" We'd planned to go the day after tomorrow, but I knew some things couldn't be forced. I handed the ring back to him, my voice calm. "There's no need. We're done." Liam panicked, his grip on my hand tightening. His voice was pleading. "I really do like you. But I'm so confused right now. I'll come find you once I've sorted things out." He didn't leave right away, looking at me nervously. "Don't you believe me? Grandma's been hoping so badly that you'd marry me. Why don't we go get the license the day after tomorrow first? And I'll talk to Grandma about the wedding once I've sorted everything out." Grandma just wanted me to find someone who loved me with all his heart before she passed away. I pulled my hand away from his. "I'll handle Grandma. We don't need to contact each other anymore." He didn't beg me to stay, just called after me. "I know you're just angry. I won't give up on you." On the day we were supposed to get the license, Liam texted me, "Clara, I have an emergency and can't make it. Let's push getting the license back a few days, I replied. No need. I bought 2 fake marriage licenses on Wish and photoshopped our official ID photos from college onto them. Grandma held the 2 fake licenses and looked at them over and over, but she didn't seem as relieved as I'd hoped. I'm scared you'll be alone. But I'm even more scared you'll end up like your mother, marrying the wrong person. Liam's been looking out for you since high school. Time reveals a person's true character, and he's treated you the same all these years. He would have been a good match. My heart raced, terrified that she'd lose her will to live if she had nothing left to hope for. We've only been dating for 2 years. Grandma, you have to keep helping me keep an eye on him. Grandma was 95 years old, already slow-moving, and had fallen twice in the past 6 months. Broken bones take 100 days to heal, so she'd been bedridden ever since. Her body was failing, and she couldn't take any medication. She'd endured the initial pain without any relief. The doctor had told me long ago to prepare myself. Grandma talked every day about wanting to see me get married. It was all because my mother, her late-teen life daughter, had fallen for a handsome but poor ma. And from Hong Kong. Back then, in that backward area, people thought any girl who married someone from Hong Kong or New York had married into wealth. Little did they know that after giving birth to me, my mother was despised by her mother-in-law and ignored by her husband, and she was such a hopeless romantic that she left me with Grandma to raise, and never had another child. Later, we found out he'd had a love child who was the same age as me with another woman. Grandpa died of anger, and my mother committed suicide after falling into severe depression. That poor bastard and the rich woman 20 years older than him took their love child on a trip abroad, where they were robbed and stabbed to death one after another. And so, my future became Grandma's biggest worry. Grandma stroked the photos of Liam and me on the licenses. Tell Liam to come over for dinner in the next couple of days. I'll have him tell his parents to take your wedding more seriously. My eyes burned with tears, but I forced a smile. What are you talking about? My grandma's going to live to be 100. You're 95 already, just push a little harder. And I want you to see me get married and have kids. Grandma patted my head, her voice weak. All right. I bit the bullet and texted Liam. Can you come over for dinner? My phone rang, but when I answered, it was Soph's voice. Clara, we need to meet at the coffee shop. She got straight to the point. You know Liam's been in love with me since he was a kid, right? I nodded. She smiled. I'm the woman he's always dreamed of. Now that I've been moved by his persistence and sincerity, I want to accept him. Is that okay with you? I thought it was absurd. You should be asking him that. She raised an eyebrow. He only started dating you on a rebound after I rejected him. He doesn't have the heart to break up with you, so it'd be better for everyone if you took the initiative to let go. 2 years was just a rebound. A faint, mocking smile tugged at my lips. If you two are truly meant to be, me clinging to him won't do any good. Why come to me? Soph looked troubled. He's too soft-hearted. If he breaks up with you, he'll feel guilty, and I don't want my man to have any lingering feelings for another woman. His family paid for part of your high school tuition, right? He was just being kind. He never meant for you to mistake it for love. I looked at her. Did he tell you I paid back every cent of that tuition in college? Her expression faltered for a second, but she recovered quickly. Of course, he tells me everything, down to the smallest detail. He flies abroad to see me every year. We've never lost touch. As a woman, I don't want to hurt you either, but I'm his first love, so I hope you'll know your place. Age really does give you an edge in arguments. I crossed my arms and played dumb. I already told him we're done. If you're coming to me, does that mean you don't trust him to choose you? Yusuf clenched her fists, but after 2 seconds, she looked satisfied again. I'm his first love. He's the one who's always begging for my attention. You wouldn't be so cheap as to try to trap him with guilt, would you? I suddenly laughed. What do you think he'd do if I recorded what you just said and sent it to him? Guilt might actually keep a relationship going longer than love. You know, she stood up abruptly, agitated. How dare you? That's exactly the kind of trick you used to make him date you, isn't it? I shrugged. You dared to say it. Why wouldn't I dare to record it? Wouldn't you be the cheap one? Using his obsession with his first love to make me break up with him so you can swoop in. She stood up again, furious. You Soph took a deep breath, glanced at her vibrating phone, and smiled triumphantly. He's here to pick me up. Do you know why he didn't show up to get the license today? Because I got drunk, and he stayed by my bed all night. He hurts just seeing me frown. Do you understand now? I looked out the window. Liam was opening the passenger door for her himself. Soph leaned softly into his arms, and he wrapped his arms around her naturally, his hand brushing gently through her hair. They were so close their bodies were pressed together. No wonder first loves are so powerful. Back in high school, Liam had been outgoing, passionate, and honest. I used to think he liked me. After all, we'd been desk mates for 3 years. He'd helped me with my chores, kept me company when I sold things at the market, and even asked his family to pay for my high school tuition. Everyone thought he liked me, even our homeroom teacher suspected we were dating. But after graduation, I saw him confess his love to Soph with my own eyes. Soph had said she only saw him as a little brother and told him not to say such embarrassing things. That's when I realized his kindness to me was just that, kindness, not love. I deliberately kept my distance from him. But he started pursuing me like crazy in our junior year of college. Liam had been honest with me about Soph, saying she was the older sister he'd loved since he was a kid, but that he'd gotten over her after meeting me. I said yes to him the year we graduated. During our relationship, he was thoughtful and attentive. He visited Grandma often, and never showed up empty-handed, always bringing gifts, flowers, and red envelopes. But I always felt like something was missing between us. The day Soph came back, he'd chased after her in the middle of our proposal. He hadn't made a clear choice, but his silence said everything. I finally understood what had been missing. Soph. No wonder he'd found time to go abroad every year during our 2-year relationship. He'd been updating Soph on every detail of his life the whole time we were dating, and she'd never once seemed disgusted or jealous. What was even harder to believe was that the honest, straightforward Liam I'd known was actually a cheater. He wasn't sorting out his feelings, she was stringing both of us along. A week later, I still hadn't heard from Liam. Then Grandma suddenly spiked a high fever. The doctor didn't dare give her any medication, so we could only use cold compresses and tepid sponge baths. In her delirium, Grandma kept calling my name and my mother's name. The next day, her fever broke. The first thing she said when she woke up was, "I want to see Liam." Reality hit me hard. I squeezed my palms to hold back the tears and called him. "Can you come over for dinner today?" He sounded concerned. "Is Grandma okay? She had a fever and wants to see you." I added deliberately, "I'm not trying to force you to get married." He hesitated. "Clara, I really need time to sort this out. I've loved her for more than 10 years. "I understand," I interrupted. "I won't bother you anymore." He was silent for a moment, then finally agreed. To get him to cooperate, I told him the truth about the fake marriage licenses I'd bought to make Grandma happy. He sounded instantly overjoyed. "You still have feelings for me? Once I sort everything out, I'll marry you right away." I corrected him calmly. "No, I just want Grandma to be at peace." His voice brightened. "I get it. I'm just happy you're willing to wait for me." Just then, Soph's soft voice came through the phone. "Liam, why am I wearing your shirt?" The call cut off abruptly. I went back to Grandma's room, trying to sound cheerful. He pushed all his work aside. "He'll be here soon." Grandma struggled to sit up, her eyes lighting up. Good. Good. Then go make his favorite braised pork belly." My hand trembled. Was Grandma's condition getting worse? Liam wasn't picky about food at all. The one who'd always loved braised pork belly was that annoying little boy who used to follow me around everywhere. At lunchtime, Liam showed Yupan Soph was with him. My heart sank. But I held my tongue for Grandma's sake. He acted completely casual. Soph wanted to meet Grandma too. Soph smiled sweetly. "Liam talks about you all the time. I wanted to come pay my respects." Grandma leaned against the headboard, her gaze sweeping calmly over both of them before she just said, "All right." The whole meal was eerily quiet. Grandma didn't heap food onto Liam's plate like she usually did. After dinner, Liam took Grandma's hand and explained, "The company's really busy at the end of the year. I'm afraid the wedding will have to wait until next year." Grandma nodded faintly. "No rush. A lifelong decision should be thought through carefully." She closed her eyes, looking tired. "You two can go now. I won't see you out." Once we left the room, I took out the 28,000 engagement check from Liam's family and handed it to him. Take this back. Liam's face turned pale. I just need a little more time to sort things out. I pressed the check into his palm. We broke up. Let's end this on good terms. Soph looked down and said softly, I'll wait for you downstairs. Liam tried to give the check back to me, his voice low. Don't be like this. Just give me a little more time, and I'll be with you completely. I stepped back to avoid him. I'm not being difficult. We're just not right for each other. Just then, Soph twisted her ankle while putting on her shoes at the entrance. Ah. Tears welled up in her eyes from the pain. Liam immediately rushed over and picked her up. He called over his shoulder hurriedly. Clara, calm down. I'll definitely give you an answer before New Year's Day. After they left, a text from Soph popped up. The power of a first love. See. I was about to reply when I saw Grandma standing in the doorway, leaning against the frame. She'd seen everything. Clara, get a divorce. She sighed. Liam's a good kid. But he's not right for you. Don't ruin your life just to make me happy. My nose stung. I confessed to her. I'm sorry, Grandma. Actually, the licenses are fake. We never got married. Grandma's eyes lit up with relief. Fake. That's a relief. I just want you to find someone who loves you with all his heart and soul. That same day, the boy who loved braised pork belly showed up. Elijah had terrible timing. The sky had turned dark suddenly, and a torrential downpour was pouring down. My phone buzzed. It was a photo from him. He was standing outside the building, soaked to the bone, water dripping from his hair. I'm freezing. The last message I'd gotten from him was his notice that he was going back to school. I stared at the screen, and finally softened enough to buzz him in. He walked in wrapped in cold air, his hoodie soaked through and clinging to his body. It outlined his broad shoulders perfectly. Water droplets rolled down his jawline from the ends of his hair. His handsome face looked even clearer under the light. When he came out of the bathroom, he headed straight for the study. He had a towel wrapped around his waist, his upper body bare, broad shoulders, narrow waist, long neck, a strong chest, and clearly defined 8-pack abs. My face burned hot, and I looked away. There's ginger tea in the living room. Drink it before you catch a cold. He didn't move, blocking the doorway like a sad, cold puppy. I don't have any clothes. I lost my temper a little. Then why did you come out in the rain? He looked miserable. I missed you. I didn't know it would rain halfway here. I threw a blanket at him, trying to put him off. Don't come here again. He didn't say anything, just wrapped the blanket around himself and went to dry his clothes. When Grandma woke up from her nap, she was absolutely delighted. Little Elijah, you're finally here. You've grown so tall. He smiled warmly at her. I came for dinner. I'll come more often from now on. More often. He'd shown up right after I'd told Grandma the truth about the fake licenses. I sighed helplessly and looked at Grandma. Grandma, when did you two start talking again? Grandma looked very happy. I've always had his phone number. They'd been plotting this together. Elijah made dinner. I ate slowly. Elijah silently put on disposable gloves, tore the meat into small pieces, and put them in Grandma's bowl. You need to eat more to get your strength back, Grandma. Then he put some in my bowl too. Eat more. You're too thin. I glared at him, but Grandma glared right back at me. Don't be so spoiled. Only Elijah would put up with you like this. Elijah kept tearing meat calmly, but he chimed in right away. Don't worry, Grandma. I'll take good care of Clara. He made it sound like I couldn't survive without him. I just had trouble biting through food because of my teeth. I'd first noticed this problem in middle school. Elijah had given me money to get braces back then, but Grandma had needed surgery, so I'd never gotten around to it. Even now that I'd saved up some money, I was afraid to spend it, in case Grandma got sick again and needed expensive medical treatment. Grandma put down her chopsticks and said slowly but firmly, I believe you. The two of them kept talking back and forth, and I got annoyed. Grandma, I'm your granddaughter. Why do you love him more than me? Grandma was in a great mood. Elijah's a good kid. He's filial to me, and he's always been good to you. After dinner, we took Grandma for a walk around the neighborhood in her wheelchair. When we got back, Grandma, who usually went to bed at 8, said she was going to her room at 7. I'm old. I sleep deeply. I won't hear a thing. I glared at Elijah. Go back to your dorm. Elijah acted like he hadn't heard me. He carried his laptop into the study. He sat down across from me at my desk, opened his computer, and started typing. I just need to finish my homework first. I took a deep breath and tried to calm down as I sat down at my own desk. In college, I'd taken every part-time job I could to make money. Writing novels let me earn a living while still being able to take care of grandma full-time. So after graduation, I decided to become a full-time writer. I focused on my writing, but I could feel his eyes on me. Impossible to ignore. Elijah got straight to the point. I heard you broke up with Liam. Was it a misunderstanding? Are you going to get back together? His intense gaze made my scalp tingle. No misunderstanding. And no, we're not getting back together. Elijah pressed on. What if he comes back and says you're the one he loves most? I stared at my screen. I don't do second chances. His voice rose with excitement. That's perfect. I looked up and jumped a little at the look in his eyes. Elijah's eyes were shining. His face lit up with joy, and a faint dimple appeared in his cheek. After more than 2 years apart, I still couldn't resist his intense gaze. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. I closed my laptop and tried to run, but he was taller and faster, blocking the door before I could get there. He looked at me like some stubborn large dog. Now it's my turn, right? I rolled my eyes at his nonsense. This isn't basketball. You can't just substitute in. Elijah leaned his hand against the door next to my ear, his long eyelashes casting a shadow on his cheek when he looked down. An empty spot will always get filled eventually. It could be someone else, but this time it has to be me. I'll show you no one loves you more than I do. All this talk of love was making my face burn and my heart race. My temples throbbed. I just got out of a relationship. I'm not looking to date anyone right now. He took my hand, his palm burning hot. I know. That's why we should get married first. Then when you feel like dating. My eyes widened in shock. Did you hit your head in the rain? Elijah looked deadly serious. As soon as you're ready to date. It has to be me. Getting married is just a guarantee for me. No, I said, my brain still struggling to catch up. Marriage isn't a game. He looked even more serious. I just want some peace of mind. You said you'd take responsibility for me. Remember? I almost fainted from frustration. I was 9. You were 6. I thought you were a little girl. He crossed his arms. 6-year-old me was still me. Even if we're taking turns. It's my turn now. I'd had enough. I pushed him toward the door, but in the light of the motion sensor lamp, I saw that his eyes were red, and he was stubbornly holding back tears. I'm grown up now. Don't go to anyone else. I'll wait as long as it takes for you to say yes. He looked so broken, like a sad little puppy. My heart clenched, and I opened my mouth but couldn't say anything. I actually had the crazy thought of locking him in the study and taking care of him. Elijah's voice was hoarse. I know I did the wrong thing before. I regret locking you up more than anything, but the army changed me. I'm more stable and reliable now. He stepped back, giving me the space I needed. Clara, I won't pressure you anymore. I just want you to take my feelings seriously. I love you. He looked at me deeply for a moment, then turned and left. The door clicked shut softly. I collapsed onto the couch, pressing my palm to my burning cheek. I'd first met Elijah when he was 6 and I was 9. He'd looked like a little rice cake, holding his grandma's hand. They'd been standing at the gate of our yard. I'd run over and hugged him, kissing his soft cheek. What a pretty little sister. He'd pouted, looking even cuter, while our grandmas complained about their terrible husbands. I'd taken the chance to bite his chubby cheek gently. I'll take responsibility for you. Sister promises. He'd stared at me, his face turning bright red, before finally blurting out, I'm a boy. Later, I found out his mother had also married someone from Hong Kong. His parents had gotten divorced, and neither of them wanted him. He'd been left with his grandma, growing up like a little plant no one watered. I'd always thought all parents favored boys, but I'd never imagined there were parents who didn't love their children at all. Seeing his beautiful, pale face looking so sad had made my heart ache for him. At first, he'd ignored me, but then he'd started following me around everywhere, silently carrying my things for me. When I got into fights, he'd tried to join in even though he was too small, and when I did housework, he'd sit there and read me fairy tales with a cold face. He'd been like my own little bodyguard. When did things change? Probably in middle school, when he'd suddenly shot up in height and his Adam's apple had started to show. One day, he'd gotten all shy and awkward around me. I'd thought it was funny, so I'd leaned in close to his face. "What's wrong with my little Elijah?" Elijah's face had turned bright red, and he'd snapped, "You're so annoying." Later, I'd asked Liam to tutor me so I could get both the national scholarship and the grant. I hadn't expected Elijah to start acting out. Wherever Liam and I studied, he'd sit there doing his homework. Once, when Liam had leaned in a little too close to explain a problem, Elijah had slammed his book shut on the table. I'd been confused. "I'm trying to study here. Don't be a brat." He'd stared at Liam with a coldness I'd never seen before. "Haven't you heard of keeping a proper distance between men and women?" Liam had laughed. All right. Your sister and I will keep our distance." I'd kept telling myself, he's just a kid. But that night, Elijah had confessed to me. "Clara, I want to be your boyfriend." I'd laughed it off, not taking a little kid's feelings seriously. "I don't date kids. Go home and go to bed." He'd refused to back down. "I'll grow up, then I'll tutor you." I'd tried to be nice. "You're in middle school and I'm in high school, and you're last in your class." But after that, he'd changed completely. His grades went from dead last to first in the whole grade, and he even started teaching himself high school material. Was he a genius? At the time, I'd had a crush on Liam, so I'd just seen Elijah as a little brother. I'd started avoiding him, but Elijah had kept showing up at my house, looking at me with red eyes, his beautiful eyes filled with tears. Looking so broken, I'd lie awake at night feeling terrible for not being nicer to him. The night after high school graduation, I'd decided to confess to Liam, only to catch him confessing to Soph. I'd gone home heartbroken. Elijah had been waiting for me at the door. He hadn't asked any questions. He'd just slept on my couch that night. After I started college, I'd moved near the campus with Grandma. Elijah would take the subway to see us all the time, bringing groceries, cooking dinner, and watching Cantonese opera with Grandma. Then in our junior year, Liam started pursuing me. When Elijah found out, he'd lost his mind for the first time. His grandma had just passed away. His father, who'd never had any other children, had come back for him, offering him a huge fortune. Elijah had locked me in his villa. We were both in the middle of final exams. I'd tried to reason with him, but he wouldn't listen. He'd talked to me every day, cooked for me, even brought me my favorite books and movies, but he'd never let me leave. He'd been so obsessive and stubborn. "Love me, please." Grandma was waiting for me at home. It wasn't until Liam called the police that I'd finally gotten free. Right before the police arrived, I'd grabbed a fruit knife and threatened to kill myself if he didn't let me go. Elijah's eyes had gone wide with terror, and he'd hugged me tightly, slowly letting go of my hand. As I'd left, he'd called after me, "Clara, don't say yes to him." When I'd gotten home, I'd found a nanny taking care of Grandma, and my heart had finally settled. The year I graduated, I said yes to Liam. Elijah had gotten into Sunset Bay University, the same school as me, but he'd chosen to join the army instead. He'd come to see me one last time, his voice dry, his smile looking more like a cry. If you ever break up with him, will you give me a chance?" Just one. Then he'd turned and walked into the night. For the next 2 years, we'd only exchanged a few casual texts on holidays. Because I'd experienced Elijah's obsession and passion firsthand, I knew very well that what I'd had with Liam had never had that spark, that intense, overwhelming desire to possess someone. I'd only ever felt that with Elijah. And after Liam had hesitated between me and Soph, I'd broken up with him. Strangely enough, I'd felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders. Did that make me a bad person? What makes you a bad person? I'd told Mia what was on my mind at a coffee shop, and she looked shocked. "The fact that you're not heartbroken just means you never felt loved." I stirred my coffee. "Then what were the last 2 years? Just a misunderstanding," she said firmly. "Think about if this gorgeous guy was only nice to you. Who wouldn't fall for that? He never confessed because he thought you'd always be there. It wasn't until you started pulling away in college that he panicked and started pursuing you. He cared about you, but not enough. He was just scared of losing you." Mia leaned in and lowered her voice. "Now that his first love is back, He's hesitating not because he can't choose who he loves more, but because he wants both. I thought of the image of Soph kissing him, and my stomach turned. Mia looked at me wisely, squeezing my hand. You're not a bad person just because you broke up with him quickly. You ended things, and he moved on. Elijah knows everything about you, and from his perspective, he's finally gotten his happy ending, and you finally saw him for who he really is. You know this deep down, don't you? Stop overthinking it. Babe, I rubbed my face with both hands, but I still see him as my little brother. It feels wrong when he holds my hand. Mia's eyes lit up. That just makes it more exciting. You're not related. You're just childhood friends. It's not wrong, that's hot. I rolled my eyes. Stop it. They're different. I could still be friends with Liam after we broke up, but if things go wrong with Elijah, I'll probably never be able to talk to him again. Do you think Elijah could turn out like Liam? Mia sighed. No way. Liam was just keeping his options open. Elijah, he wants to marry you and lock you down forever. If he just wanted to have fun, why would he ask you to marry him? He could just play the sad card and sleep with you. She shook her head. You two are perfect for each other. You're insecure, so gentle. Casual love won't work for you. You need someone who loves you obsessively. That's what will make you feel safe. I froze. She was right. But back then, Elijah had been a minor, and he'd gotten into Ocean City University, one of the top schools in the world. His father was a business tycoon over there. He was going to have an amazing future, but he'd chosen to go to Sunset Bay University instead. I'd said yes to Liam partly out of spite. Mia said one last thing. Having morals is a good thing, but don't let them trap you. You're single now. Choose the person who makes your heart race and makes you happy. Grandma and I only want you to be truly happy. The sunlight streamed through the window into my coffee cup. I let out a slow breath. One thing I was sure of. I never wanted to hurt Elijah again. A week later, Elijah bought the apartment across from mine. His excuse: the dorms were too noisy, and this place was close to the subway. When Grandma and I went to his housewarming, I noticed his study was laid out exactly like mine. He also had a huge bookshelf filled with novels from all over the world. The three of us made dumplings together. Having another person around really did make a difference. Late that night, I'd just finished updating my novel when a text from him popped up. Come over for a drink. I replied, I'm going to bed. He wouldn't take no for an answer. Then I'll come knock on your door. I angrily pulled open my door, and he was standing right there. The motion sensor light turned on. His eyes were wet, and he was wearing a thin t-shirt. My heart skipped a beat. Why couldn't I resist him? Was it just because he was handsome? Elijah crossed his arms. If you don't like me, why are you hiding? And why is your face red? I was embarrassed and tried to go back inside, but he pulled me out and closed the door behind us. He was tall and strong, towering over me. I felt trapped, so I said, I'm just tired. And then, against my better judgment, I followed him into his apartment. In the study, he pushed me against the wall. He looked miserable, but his voice was firm. When are you going to take responsibility for me? My face burned. Please forget about that. I can't. He said seriously, I remember everything about you. I threw out my last defense. Are you sure your feelings for me are romantic? What if it's just because you were little, and you see me as family? Elijah's gaze darkened. I had my first wet dream about you in middle school, and every one since then has been about you. What kind of family do you think that makes us? I regretted opening my door so much. You're shameless. I was nice to you, and you misunderstood. But I was nice to the other boys on the street too. His eyes darkened even more. That's why I tore up all their love letters to you and threatened to beat them up if they ever wrote another one. I stared at him in shock. I'd had no idea. Elijah cupped my face in his hands, his voice hoarse. But you were different with me. When I got hurt fighting, you'd feel bad and bandage me up. When they got hurt, you'd just tell them they deserved it. That's because you were handsome and you were in the right. I thought to myself, I can't take it anymore. He whispered. Then his lips crashed onto mine. It was urgent, hot, like he'd been holding back for years. My mind went blank, and my whole body froze. His lips moved against mine, and he murmured, your heart's beating so fast. I pushed him away hard, but he wrapped his arms around me from behind. His warm breath tickled my ear. You like me too. I was panicking. We can't go back to how things were. He bit my neck, leaving a faint sting that sent shivers down my spine. Then don't look back. Walk forward with me. The next day, Elijah and I got our marriage license from the county clerk's office. We walked out, and the sun was shining brightly. Mia texted me about New Year's Eve plans. Come out once Grandma's napping. I invited a bunch of hot guys all over 6 feet tall, 8-pack abs, and super rich. You won't regret it. Elijah was holding my phone at the time. He looked down, his expression unreadable, his voice sullen. I've never spent New Year's Eve with you, as if I'd forgotten. Before he joined the army, he'd spent every New Year's Eve at my house. I took my phone back and replied, Can't. I got married today. We have to go for pre-wedding physicals this afternoon, so I won't be going out tonight. Mia called immediately, yelling into the phone, You got back together with Liam. I saw him with Soph yesterday. It's Elijah, I said. There was a 2-second pause. Then she erupted into cheers and congratulations. I laughed and hung up, then looked up to see Elijah staring at me, his ears bright red, trying to look calm but failing miserably. Back in the car, Elijah looked at me intensely. When do you want to have the wedding? I think we should wait until you graduate, I started to say, but he kissed me mid-sentence. It was urgent and passionate. He kissed me suddenly, one hand cupping the back of my neck gently but firmly. I pushed him away as hard as I could, gasping. We're right outside the county clerk's office. Everyone's watching. He pulled back a little, pressing his forehead to mine, his breath uneven. I'm just so happy. Tonight. Come to my place. Okay. I get a physical every year. I'm perfectly healthy. Oh. Big deal. Grandma and I get physicals every year too. I looked out the window, avoiding his gaze. Let's go home. Grandma's waiting for us. My face was burning hot. On the drive home, I couldn't stop looking at him. He was smiling the whole time. A genuine, relaxed smile. The Elijah from 2 years ago had been obsessive and gloomy, thinking about how restrained he'd been since coming back from the army. A soft spot in my heart melted. Grandma held the 2 real marriage licenses and looked at them over and over. Tears of joy in her eyes, real ones. This is perfect. I looked at Grandma, my own eyes filling with tears, and hugged her arm. Elijah put his arm around my shoulders and said solemnly to Grandma, We'll have the wedding as soon as I graduate. We need you to be there to see it. Grandma smiled fondly. All right, all right. At that moment, the room was filled with warm sunlight. After dinner, we took Grandma for a walk, and when we got back, she shooed me across the hall to Elijah's place. I'll call you if I need anything. She was in such good spirits that I was a little worried, but once I'd checked that she was fast asleep, I relaxed. Elijah pulled me into his apartment, looking shy but eager. I haven't showered yet, I said. Elijah didn't seem to hear me. He pulled me inside and shut the door behind him. The next second, he had me pressed against the wall, kissing me deeply. I suddenly wasn't scared anymore. I tilted my head up and kissed him back. He froze for a second, then kissed me back with even more passion. His hands went to my back, but he fumbled with the clasp of my dress for ages, his Adam's apple bobbing nervously. Can we shower together? I buried my face in his shoulder, embarrassed. I'll do it myself. The bathroom filled with steam, but he insisted on joining me. When I was so flustered I could barely look at him, he whispered in my ear, I've read the steamy scenes in your novels. Teach me, baby. Oh my God, calling me baby at a time like this. He knew exactly what he was doing. I was so nervous my whole body was shaking. I've never done this before. You'll have to figure it out yourself. He froze for a second. I tried to regain some confidence. You don't seem nervous at all. Have you done this before? Elijah's eyes lit up with excitement. No. He kissed my collarbone. I've only ever been yours. What happened next was awkward but passionate. The first time was over quickly, but Elijah was eager for more, nibbling on my fingertips. Your novels always have hour-long scenes. Let's try again. He held my waist. Let's keep trying until we get it right. Turns out everyone was right. Younger guys have endless energy. On New Year's Eve, fireworks lit up the sky. Soph was leaning against Liam, more affectionate than ever, but her closeness only made him feel empty and bored. Over the past few weeks, He'd been inseparable from Soph, but he'd also stubbornly texted Clara every day. Even though she'd never replied, he knew she was angry, waiting for him to make a choice. Soph had been the unattainable light of his youth, but Clara, when had she quietly taken root in his life? He thought of how she'd grabbed a broom and fought off bullies to protect a classmate in high school. Of how she'd bitten her lip stubbornly when she couldn't afford tuition, then turned around and smiled warmly at her customers at the market. She was like a wildflower, tough, resilient, and full of life. He'd always wanted to be close to her, to protect her. He'd thought it was just sympathy or habit, but in college, when he'd noticed Clara no longer sought him out, he'd panicked. He'd been terrified of losing her. That's why he'd started pursuing her, even after they'd started dating. He'd still felt a little unsatisfied. Then, on the day of his proposal, Soph had come back. His long-held dream was suddenly within reach. He couldn't choose, but now, he finally knew his heart. The fireworks faded. Soph looked up at him, her eyes reflecting the last of the sparks. Liam, you said you had an answer. Can you tell me now? Liam looked at the ground, his voice dry. Soph. He used the old nickname he hadn't used in years. From now on, you're just my sister. That's impossible. Soph's voice was sharp. You're just used to being with her. You're mistaking habit for love. Someone from her background, how do you know it's not just pity? Liam's gaze was clear. I know the difference. I miss her when I'm not with her. I feel at peace when I see her. I want to give her everything I have, just to make her happy. Soph grabbed his arm. What about me? What about these past few weeks? What about all the years you were nice to me? Was it all a lie? He pulled his arm away gently. It wasn't a lie, but it was the love of a little brother for his older sister. These past few weeks, I was stupid. I'm sorry. He checked his watch. Suddenly urgent. I have to go find her. I need to tell her before midnight. Soph panicked and threw herself at him, kissing him desperately, her voice breaking. Stay with me. Just one more night, please. She planned to take a photo of them together and send it to Clara. Even if Liam went back to her, there'd always be a rift between them. Liam was angry and frustrated, but he couldn't bring himself to push her away. They'd barely started undressing when his phone rang. Liam answered it. One of his high school friends said cautiously. Clara posted on her Instagram feed. She got married. It's not you. Liam's mind went blank. He forced a laugh. That's fake. She bought it to make Grandma happy. He hung up and opened Instagram with shaking hands. In the official ID photo, Clara was smiling brightly. Next to her was Elijah. The photo burned his eyes. Fake. Why was it Elijah? A terrible thought crossed his mind. What if it was real? Panic gripped his heart. He pushed Soph away roughly, his words tumbling over each other. I'm sorry. I have to go find her, right now. He ignored Soph's screams and ran out into the cold New Year's Eve night. In the car, he dialed Clara's number over and over, his hands shaking so badly he could barely hold the phone. Busy signal, busy signal, busy signal. Finally, on the last try, the call went through. He didn't care about anything else. His voice rushed like he was running. Clara, I have my answer. I like you. I love you. Clara. Let's get married. Let's go get the license tomorrow. A clear, laughing voice came through the phone. Hey man, bigamy is a felony. Don't drag my wife into this. Liam went cold all over. Elijah's voice was lazy, dripping with satisfaction. My wife's asleep. Calling her in the middle of the night isn't very appropriate, is it? Liam gripped the steering wheel tightly, his voice angry but shaking. Clara's my girlfriend. Elijah's tone was light, but his eyes were cold and hard. Does my wife acknowledge that? We have the red marriage license with the official embossed seal. The law recognizes us. Liam shouted. That's a fake license. She bought it to make Grandma happy. Elijah drawled. Oh. You mean the one with your photo on it? That one was definitely fake. This one I have official embossed seal and all. Fresh off the press. Liam's vision went dark. He slammed on the gas and ran a red light. Put Clara on the phone. There was a moment of silence on the other end. Then the sound of fabric rustling. Then Elijah's voice softened. Did I wake you up? Then the call ended. Liam tried again, but it went straight to voicemail. And when he opened Instagram, He saw he'd been blocked entirely. Meanwhile, Elijah put down his phone and looked at me. Half asleep in his arms, I rubbed my eyes. Who were you talking to? Your parents just sent you some money, Elijah said. I perked up immediately and grabbed my phone. 280,000 from Elijah's mom. And 8 million from his dad. My eyes widened in disbelief. I must be hallucinating. You must have worn me out too much. Elijah hugged me tightly and whispered. I didn't wear you out that much. We went at your pace. Remember, liar. He'd said he'd go at my pace at first. But once he'd gotten the hang of it, he'd completely lost control. He nuzzled my neck. Who do you love, Mareem or the money? Definitely the money. But remembering how he'd looked like a possessive villain when we were together, whispering, I wish we could stay like this forever. I cooed at him. You, of course. Before the countdown, I went back to check on Grandma. Seeing her breathing slowly and steadily, I felt calm and happy. We stood in the living room and counted down with the TV, toasting to the new year and our new lives. When the countdown ended, Elijah kissed me. We were in the middle of a passionate kiss when the intercom buzzed sharply. The screen showed Liam. Elijah's face darkened instantly. We went downstairs. Liam was standing in the cold wind, his hair messy, all his usual confidence and charm gone. He looked anxious and distraught. He stared at our intertwined hands, clenching and unclenching his fists, forcing a smile. Clara, you didn't tell me your brother was in town. Perfect. Tomorrow we'll go get the license. And we can all have dinner together as a family. Liam was standing there, tense as a stretched rubber band, a shadow of his former self. I felt a twinge of sadness, but my voice was calm. Liam, we broke up. Elijah and I are already married. His eyes instantly turned red, his chest heaving. It's fake. It's just to make Grandma happy, right? You're angry at me. I'm sorry. The license is real. I interrupted. Don't come here again. His face turned deathly pale. He took a step forward. Did he force you? I squeezed Elijah's hand tighter. I married him willingly. But Liam wasn't listening anymore. His eyes blazed with anger. And he suddenly threw a punch at Elijah. It's all your fault. Elijah's eyes flashed. He dodged the punch easily and kicked Liam hard in the stomach. Liam grunted and fell to the ground. I grabbed Elijah's arm. That's enough. He took a deep breath, calming the anger in his eyes, and pulled me behind him. I looked at Liam, lying on the ground looking pathetic, and suddenly he felt like a stranger. Just go. He got up, his eyes wet with tears, angry and hurt. But you loved me. You've loved me since high school. You're only with him to make me jealous, right? I froze. You knew. He grabbed onto this like a lifeline. Of course I knew. I loved you too. I just thought Soph was the one. Elijah tried to step forward again, but I stopped him. The last bit of guilt I'd felt for him vanished completely. He'd known all along. He'd known how I felt. And he'd enjoyed having me admire him. He'd pined after his first love while giving me just enough attention to keep me hooked. All those head pats, all those tutoring sessions, all that financial help. It hadn't been one-sided. He just wanted to have his cake and eat it too. I took out my phone. A driver's on the way. I'll pay for your hospital bills. Liam stared at me in disbelief. Clara, he hit me. Can't you see that? I looked at him calmly. I see everything. I see you clearly now. And I see myself clearly too. He froze, all the strength draining out of him. Elijah took my hand and turned to go home. As soon as the door closed, he pushed me against the wall, grabbed my hand and pressed it to his chest, his voice low and whiny. My heart hurts. He hit me. That youthful infatuation had led to a ridiculous misunderstanding. That intense obsession, once it no longer had anything to feed on, faded away with time into nothing more than a memory. I asked Elijah once about the 2 years I'd been with Liam. He was honest. He just had the advantage of being there first. If it hadn't been him, you still wouldn't have chosen me back then. It was my fault. I used the wrong methods. And I scared you. He'd changed a lot. The sharp obsession he'd had before joining the army had been softened by time into quiet stability. He still had that boyish handsomeness, but his features were now strong and defined. His body was absolutely amazing. His lean, muscular lines made me want to touch him sometimes. He just had way too much energy. I'd stay up late writing, and then I'd have to stay up late with him too. One morning at 7 o'clock, I felt him moving beside me. I hugged him tightly. No more. I can't take it anymore. He kissed my cheek, smiling. Go back to sleep. I have to go to my 8 a.m. lecture. I thought he was just using a meme, so I hit him playfully. What are you talking about? He pulled the covers up over me. I have a full morning of classes. I'll be back soon. I jolted awake, completely shocked. Thank God he'd joined the army for 2 years before coming back to school. Otherwise, I never would have been able to do this. Listening to the door close, I stared at the ceiling in a daze. My husband was still a college student. During winter break, Grandma asked us to take her back to our hometown. She said she wanted to go home. The old courtyard was exactly the same as I remembered. I could almost hear the silly nursery rhyme I'd made up as a kid. I go to school. I'm never late. I love learning. Elijah loves to work. Back then, I'd always made him wash my socks, and he'd pout but never refuse. Later, when I'd buried myself in my books, he'd sit beside me playing video games, and then, when he'd noticed I couldn't bite through meat, he'd silently tear it into small pieces for me. All those memories suddenly felt so vivid. On New Year's Day, Grandma was in unusually good spirits. She made dumplings for us herself. She looked at us and said, "Clara, Elijah, you two have to stay this happy forever. When Elijah graduates, have 2 babies, and the house will be even more lively." My nose stung, but I smiled and nodded. It's already lively now. A few days before the Lantern Festival, the final day of Chinese New Year celebrations, Grandma passed away peacefully in her sleep. She looked calm, like she'd finished everything she'd set out to do. Elijah put his arm around my shoulders and said softly, "It was a peaceful passing at a ripe old age. She lived a long and full life." I knew that, but the tears still wouldn't stop. I went through all the arrangements in a daze. And it wasn't until long after we'd left the small town that I woke up one morning and truly realized my teeth were finally fixed, and Grandma was really gone. Not long after, Mia called me in a panic. "Liam got that disease. Neither him nor Soph knows who gave it to who. They're fighting like cats and dogs now." She hesitated. "Do you want to get checked out just in case?" I laughed. "Checked out for what? Nothing ever happened between us." Grandma had always gone to bed early all those years, so I'd almost never gone out at night. And Liam had been busy with his career and flying abroad to see Soph. All our dates had been in groups. It was ridiculous. Really, we'd dated for 2 years, and our relationship had been completely platonic. Mia sighed in relief. "Thank God we get annual physicals." That was a close one. The year Elijah graduated, he proposed to me. He got down on one knee, his hand holding the ring trembling slightly. "Clara, I love you. Will you spend the rest of your life with me?" Tears streamed down my face. "I do." We had our wedding. The next year, I gave birth to fraternal twins, a boy and a girl. We moved into a new house. When the babies started learning to walk, they'd always stumble into our arms, babbling happily. One quiet afternoon, I was leaning against Elijah's chest, watching the kids play with toys on the carpet, when I suddenly asked him, "Why did you join the army back then?" He was silent for a moment, then hugged me tighter. "I couldn't stand the thought of you not being mine, but I was also scared my obsession would hurt you. I wanted you to be mine, but I wanted you to be happy even more. I couldn't stop worrying about you. So I kept in touch with Grandma to find out how you were doing. I'm just glad I waited." "Yeah, I'm glad too." The sunset streamed through the window, falling on his warm palm. The kids' giggles echoed through the house, bright and clear. We have the rest of our lives ahead of us to spend together, warm and happy, day after day. Hey there, could you rate this story in the comments? Use a scale of 1 to 10, please. I am begging you. It really means a lot to me. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit follow.